A Brexit expert has outlined the 4 key reasons a deal could be reached soon between the UK and the EU as the crunch deadline looms closer. The UK formally left the European Union back in January, and negotiators on both sides have until the end of this year to agree a deal on their future relationship. But the outbreak of COVID-19 has slowed negotiations. The UK also has until the end of this month to request an extension to the transition period, something Prime Minister Boris Johnson has repeatedly ruled out. As the deadline looms closer, Brexit expert and director of the UK Trade Policy Project, David Hennig, has outlined the 4 key reasons a deal could finally be reached. In a post on the Europe Centre for International Political Economy, Mr. Hennig says both negotiators on each side have major differences in their approach. But despite the ongoing negotiations, Mr. Hennig writes how a deal could be reached. He said, "Yet there are also reasons to think a deal could be reached. The core of an agreement, goods trade free of tariffs and quotas, is agreed. The UK government seems unlikely to carry out its original threat to walk out of talks this month. A high-level summit is planned for later in the month, at which negotiators seem likely to be tasked with working through the summer to agree on as much as possible." The UK document on the implementation of the Northern Ireland Protocol was generally seen as a positive step forward in recognising checks would be needed on goods entering the province from Great Britain, even if the detail was frustratingly absent. By September or early October, Mr. Hennig believes both sides will have much to think about as they head towards a major decision point in terms of adopting their negotiating positions. He goes on to say how it is thought the EU has less to lose from a failure to finish a trade deal, but claims there will be an economic hit. Mr. Hennig explained, the UK is the EU27's second largest external trading partner after the US, and losses can be expected in areas like automotive and agriculture as a result of no deal. Access to UK fishing waters is important for some coastal member states, and the issue of access to UK financial services markets will remain given their current dominance. Implementation of the Northern Ireland Protocol will be considerably easier with a deal. Mr. Hennig goes on to explain how it will be up to the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, to ultimately decide whether to leave the EU with or without a deal. However, he detailed how a no-deal Brexit could lead to economic risks in a post-COVID-19 world. He said, UK business already reeling for the COVID-19 pandemic already expect further costs and disruption, and international investors are increasingly wary. It is more likely, however, that the government will focus on the messaging, thus thinking whether per economic performance or factories closing will be blamed on no-deal coronavirus. The absence of a deal will also make many essential areas of future cooperation more difficult, from customs clearance to visas and security issues. This week, the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey warned banks to prepare for the UK to unshackle itself from the EU without a Brexit trade deal, according to sources. Mr. Johnson has been adamant he will not seek any extension to the current transition period, which ends on December 31, despite warnings the coronavirus outbreak means it may be impossible to conclude a new free trade agreement with the EU by then. He's expected to fly to Brussels to resume Brexit talks with the EU's trade negotiations jotted to a halt. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe our channel to receive the latest news.